Welcome back to Forgotten Working Class Podcast. My name is Tiffany.
I'm John.
Today we have with us one badass chick. Everyone, this is our guest, Josie McClintock. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here with us. Where are you calling from?
So I live in Central Illinois right now.
Okay. Are you from Illinois?
Yeah. So I grew up mostly in Illinois, but my family spent a lot of time in Texas too. My family was a big rodeo family. So, and big on horses, things like that. So I spent a lot of time down there, but mainly living here.
Very cool. How old are you?
25.
25. Are you married? Do you have children?
I'm not married. I have one son. He is 4.
So awesome. So you're a single mom?
Yes. And his dad just got back from deployment, actually. He was in Iraq. So I was really single momming it for a while.
Wow. Props to you. He has 2 really strong parents.
Yeah.
Super cool. What do you do for work?
So I'm a millwright. I'm a union millwright right now.
How'd you get into that?
So I used to be a laborer, actually. So I did road construction. And being a laborer, they're, for one, the lowest paid trade. And 2, the work was just extremely hard. It was always heavy highway work. And I knew I wanted to do more. They always got to watch everyone do the cool stuff, and I wanted to do the cool stuff. So at that time, actually, I was engaged, and he was a millwright superintendent. And I had always thought about switching between being a millwright or iron worker. I didn't really know. Millwright and iron workers are 2 trades that do not like each other. We fight for work a lot. So his whole family is millwrights. I was like, I don't want to be an iron worker in a millwright family. That wouldn't go well. But I also didn't want to ride his coattails, I guess. I didn't want everything I get to be based off of him. So after I decided that's what I wanted to do, I'm in a totally different local than him, a totally different, everything than him. But that's how I initially got in. I just started making phone calls and figuring out what to do and how to do it.
So cool. So have you always worked with your hands since you were a kid?
Yeah, so I grew up on a farm. My mom was a single mom most of my life. My dad he was a horse trainer, then ended up having a lot of addiction issues. So my mom, she ended up taking care of the farm and everything. So we were always helping her. We put up hay since we were little kids. And then in high school, I worked on a dairy farm. I've always really liked things like that. My whole mom's family are mechanics, and people are just extremely mechanically inclined. So it kind of came natural for me, actually.
Super cool.
That's awesome.
She's badass. So now in your job, what exactly are you doing out there?
So describing what I do is always so hard because there's so many different things millwrights do. And I can't sit here and pretend I know everything because I've only been in I'm only a second year. But so I've been on wind turbines. So putting up wind farms. I've done solar fields. We do a lot of refinery work, and then coal plants. Tearing everything out and putting everything in is basically what millwrights do as a whole. We do a lot of welding, a lot of precision work, alignment with motors, and just all sorts of stuff. A lot of conveyor work in car plants too. So, but recently I was just on the wind farms.
So you're traveling?
I think I'm going to be. That one I got really lucky because it was in my local. So I had wanted to travel and go to one because I knew the guy that was going to be my boss. And then my BA, who is my representative at the hall, was like, well, we got one right down the road. And I was like, oh, awesome. So I went to that one and I liked it a lot. So I think I might continue to do that. I want to find something. I want to try everything. So I haven't been in 20 years and only know about one thing to do. So I'm trying to figure it out a little bit.
It's a good plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, 25 years old. You are super motivating, super dedicated to your work.
You experience as you can.
Right. Yeah. I don't want to be the person. I see a lot of older guys who have only done one thing their whole career, and then that ends up like the coal plants, they're all disappearing out of the United States now. And if that's all they've ever done, they go to other jobs and they have no idea how to do anything. And that's not what I want to be. I don't want to, I already try to ask a million questions, but I don't want to be 50 years old, like still not knowing what's all out there. And I kind of want to have my hand in a little bit of everything.
You're going to be able to teach your son so much. It's incredible.
He watches welding videos like on YouTube all the time. He thinks I run an excavator. I don't know why, but he loves all of that stuff. I'll put my hood on him and he'll watch. He loves it.
So crazy. I'm going to drop your TikTok handle for everyone to see. So on her flyers, I'll post it there. Once your episode comes out, it's going to be on there. So did you finish high school? Did you go to trade school?
So I did. I finished high school. I wasn't motivated in high school at all. Growing up, I really didn't have any sense of direction. Like in high school, I was never like, oh, this is what I want to be. It didn't cross my mind, and I didn't have anybody to like tell me that I need to figure it out, or like it's something I didn't even think about, which is crazy to think back on. Like, how was I 18 and I didn't think about the rest of my life? But after that, I didn't go to college or I tried a little bit, but I didn't try very hard. I tried for about 2 weeks and was like, yeah, I just don't want to do this. Like I don't know what I was doing as like an 18-year-old, but I kind of lost myself for a really, really long time. Like I just kind of did whatever I wanted to do. I wasn't doing the right things. I wasn't making good decisions. I wasn't thinking about my future in any way. But when I had my son was really when I was like, I need to figure it out. And like from that day forward, I have like always tried to figure it out. I always say like he saved my life, and he really did, because I don't know if I would have figured it out if it wasn't for him.
Yeah, same with my daughter. I told you I was pregnant I had her at 20, 2 weeks before my 21st. It's crazy
Right.
what kids do to us.
Yeah, that's what I had him when I was 21, and I just think like I see a lot of kids these days not knowing what they want to do and stuff like that, and I'm like people always say the younger generation is so unmotivated, but I get it because I was unmotivated, and now like I'm extremely motivated, but it's because I didn't have any direction, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm very lucky when it comes to that.
Well, you are exactly what we call a triple threat. Guys, if you go to arcingaheadofcarol.com, we have a line for our blue collar women, our badasses. It's called Triple Threat, which stands for beauty, brains, and blue collar. You are absolutely a triple threat in so many ways.
Thank you.
So, like, what is your I wouldn't say end goal, because you are so determined to learn everything. But at your highest point of blue collar industry, what do you want to be? What is your dream?
What I'm really passionate about is like making sure things that have happened to me on job sites don't happen to anybody else, between a man, woman, anything. So that's why I'm going to school. I'm double majoring in energy management, which is basically like wind farms, solar fields, things like that. It's a newer degree that like not many people have. So I'm going for that and my construction management degree, because I want to be a like senior superintendent, head superintendent one day, because I've had some really crazy, like messed up things happen to me, and people in those positions didn't stand up for me. They didn't have my back. They knew I was right, but they would rather have like hit it and pushed it to the side because they didn't want to admit their company had issues and their guys did something wrong. And I just feel maybe it's the mom in me coming out, but I want to protect anybody from that happening and just treating everybody with respect, treating workers that know what they're doing like they know what they're doing, not like they're like little kids that need babysat and talked down to, and just making sure like the newer women coming in are not treated like they're dumb and are not talked about in the way that I've been spoke about, and are just seen as everybody else, because that's all I want is just to be seen as just another person out there. Like, I don't expect you to hold my hand and tell me it'll be okay, but like, I also don't want you yelling at me because you just don't like that I'm a girl and I said something and you think that's disrespectful. Because I've seen that a lot where I'm like, hey, this would be a good idea. And they take that as disrespect when if a guy said it to them, and I've watched a guy then say the exact same thing as me, and it's not disrespect when a guy says it. But when a woman does, it's like, oh, well, like, what's wrong? Like, what do you don't have like a dog in the fight. Like, you don't get to talk here kind of thing. And I
Yeah,
just,
that's ridiculous.
right. And I really want to end that. And at
I
first
think
I thought, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think if you work just as hard as the next person next to you, it don't fucking matter if you're a man, a woman, giraffe. It don't matter if you're out there busting your ass, man, in the dirt just like they are. Then you get that respect, and you should be able to voice your opinion.
Right, you're sweating
It don't
as much as them.
it don't
You're
matter now if
biting
you're
your knuckles as much as them.
now if you're out there and you ain't pulling your weight and ain't doing
Right.
shit. Then I get it, because I've worked with guys like that, and it's like, even I'm talking big ass grown men. You ain't pulling your weight. I would tell you, get the fuck out of here. Go do something else. I ain't got time for it.
Yeah, I can't even look at those people. Like, that's how I feel too. I'm not I've seen men and women like that too, where it's like, why'd you even come in? Like, they hate their job, they're mad at the world to even be there. Then they just sit in the dirt and like be on their phone, or they'll complain all day about something that it's like, is your voice not tired? Like, oh my gosh. And that's what I'm all about. Is like, if you work really hard and like you try your best, I just think everyone should be respected, whether you're an apprentice and an old guy, it doesn't matter. And back in the day, they're always like, well, old guys used to beat apprentices up. I'm like, would that make you feel like more of a man if you could beat me up? Like, that's weird, guys. Like, that's not normal. Like, you can't think that's normal just because it happened to you doesn't mean you should do it to other people.
Right.
Is a lot of like what I'm seeing recently, and I think more and more I realize it's a lot deeper of an issue than I thought. At first I thought it was like, oh, one guy, and then I've started to realize it's a lot of people that still think that way. And
There's a lot
yeah,
of
if you want to work, you should be able to work and like not have drama. You know what I mean? It's not high school.
Yeah.
You've talked about
Oh
that.
my God.
Yeah.
That's like 100% true. People, they don't get it that some of these job sites, it's like going right back to high school. The
Oh,
drama, and you're getting this from like, I've had it from like 50-year-old, 40-year-old men that you're like, bro, what are you doing? Get back to work.
yes.
It's
That's the men that like I have noticed have treated me like that the most, because I've met some like amazing men. Like, my first job I went on as a pre-apprentice, you have to find your own job. And so at that time, my fiance, he was like, I'm not sending you to your first millwright job where you have no idea what's going on and you're a pretty young girl by yourself. Like, just go on one job with me. So I did that. And I went with them, and no one even knew we were together because he was so hard on me. But I loved it. I got to do all the hard, like the nasty jobs that no one else wanted to do. But all the guys there really treated me with so much respect. They were so nice. They always talked about how much they love their wives. Like, they were good guys. And how a man talks about his wife says a lot to me. Like, I judge men hard off of that. And they were great, great guys. And then since then, it's just been a lot of like, I know how people can be. And I want there to be a shift one day to that, where it's blue collar guys are supposed to be family guys and like love their kids and be doing this for their family, not traveling because they want to get away from their family.
We've
You
seen
know
that
what
a
I
lot.
mean?
but
Yeah.
I think that has a lot to do with, so I was taught in my job with the first company I worked with doing what I did, that a lot of old school ways. The
Mm-hmm.
guy I learned from, I'm talking old school, most knowledge I've ever learned from this man. But that's what he was. He's a family man. Everything. Just like I said, if you're working and you're doing your job and you're doing it right, you didn't have a problem. It didn't matter what you were, man, woman, nothing. That's it. But the newer generation that's coming in, they don't have those morals. They don't have that old school way of doing things. And
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot that, like you said, that they're out partying. We're going, traveling here. And now it turns into a vacation. people
Right.
cheating, people doing whatever, hammered, drugs, all that. And that's not what you
Well,
should
we're
be
the
doing.
older guys too. It's like us people that are like my age and younger. I think the huge issue because a lot of like when I first became a pre-apprentice, you had to get a certain amount of hours to actually be part of the union to become an apprentice. And I was the only one in there with my hours. And I feel like so many kids, like they're not motivated because we live in this world where everyone's like, why would I have to work? Like, I shouldn't have to. And it's like, well, you
Entitlement.
guys complain about how your grandpa could work and raise 5 kids with his wife not working, but then you don't even want to hold a job. And unions, like, we make good money, you know. And starting off as an apprentice, it's not easy. My brother's also, he's a millwright too. I got him in after me, and like we both talked about it. Apprentice pay is no joke, but you work your way up and you're in the 30s, 40s, 50s, $60 an hour. And it's like, that's how you create those lives. But people, it's like younger people don't want to create long-term goals for some reason. And I'm not sure, I'm really not sure why that is, but I do see that quite a bit.
Yeah, it's like they save, buy their truck, and then they quit, and they're off to the next job.
Well,
Yeah,
for some reason, the new
There's no commitment in blue
that
collar.
$1,100 truck payment.
I for the new generations, and like you said, that they don't want to come in and do the hard work. For some reason, they think that you can just come into any of these big jobs and you just walk in and you're going to be put at the top.
Yes.
You have to start at the bottom. That is when I started scraping grease, and
Yeah.
I'm talking like all day scraping grease.
As a grown man. Well, actually,
As a grown-
you're
yeah, I
probably
wasn't
26 when you started.
Yeah, but it was like go scrape all the cam grease off that, and you'd sit there, and the cam grease that we used to have to scrape was so sticky that the bugs would get stuck in it at night.
Yeah.
Well, then the birds would fly to get the bugs off. They would get stuck in
Oh,
it, and then they would end up getting covered by more grease. So by the time it was time to go scrape your grease, you'd be out there with a scraper and you would hit a pocket, and pull it back. Well, it's a bird that has been rotting in there for
oh
who
my
knows
God.
how long. And if
Oh
you
my
got up
God.
and you were like, "Oh, I can't do this," that was like, "Well, you either do that or you go to the gate." It's like, all right,
Right.
well, yeah, I'll get back to it.
Right. Yeah. And that's what it comes down
What
to
you
a
gotta
lot
do?
too. It's just, it's getting through like the bad stuff and the crappy stuff you have to do. And like I said, I feel like a lot of people are coddled when they're like, a lot of people my age, I've had a huge problem with it because I am very straightforward and I say exactly what I mean when I mean it. Like I don't sugarcoat anything. And I feel like a lot of people, they were raised with everything that was being said to them sugarcoated of like, honey, it's okay. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. I'll do it for you. And I feel like that's how a lot of kids are. So now it's like they come into the workplace and it's like, holy crap, like what is going on? Like I've seen people like even in my apprenticeship classes when there's carpenters in there and there's other people and stuff. I've seen them complaining about having to be in class for 8 hours, and it's like we're getting paid, like we're not paying to be in class. Like we are lucky to have these classes, and it's like they're not appreciative of anything. And a lot of those really old guys, they are the ones that, like, if you can latch on to an old guy at work, you've got it made. Because for
You learn
one,
a lot.
people do not mess with them. Like the old, like I'm not talking the 30, 40, 50. I'm talking about like those old
Yeah,
timers. If you can latch on to one of them, it's insane how much they know. Like it amazes me because I like knowing stuff, and like next to them I'm like a bump on it. Like I have no idea. Like you have to show me because you're saying so much stuff right now. Like I don't even know what you're talking. I'm lost in all of it. And those are the ones, they always have my back too. Like they are so loyal to people they see working hard, and they'll have anyone's back and they're not scared, and they're strong union guys too. Like that's when unions used to fight each other over work, and they really cared about their job and they were proud of their job.
yeah,
And
it took pride.
nowadays it's like people aren't proud of like what they do or their union or anything like that. And the old guys, they're still super proud of all of it and like how hard they've worked for what they have.
So going back to the new generation of these young kids who don't even want to be in school, don't even want to be at work, it scares the living hell out of me because you know the dangers out there. You are fully aware, you are paying attention. Obviously we thought that for a second probably John was invincible. We never thought this would have happened to him. But you bring in these new kids who don't even want to fucking be there. They're gonna get hurt.
They're going to get somebody hurt.
It scares the hell out of me. And if you guys are watching, you guys are listening, if these are your kids that you're making go to these trade schools and they don't want to fucking be there, take them out. Because if you're not serious about these jobs, they will get hurt or somebody else hurt. Save it for the ones who are blue collar blood type and want to fucking be there.
Right. And if they walk in thinking that they're God's gift to this earth, that's also how you get someone hurt. Because if you're too scared to ask for help, and that's kind of a lot of men are. A lot of men don't want to ask for help because, they're a man. But it's in this toxic way with a lot of young people. And I understand it where it's like, oh, I don't always want to ask for help. But that's how you get someone hurt or killed on the job. And my stepdad is a lineman. And that happens. An apprentice does something stupid and that's how you get somebody else killed, somebody else that had kids and a wife and stuff like that. And you just can't have that mindset coming in no matter what. It's just not meant for you, and that's fine. But don't hurt me because your mom said you need to be in the trades or your girlfriend wanted to date a blue collar man. Just go. Please don't do that to me.
Right.
Because it's kind of a trend now, and it's not good in some ways.
Going back to this ego, I mean, unfortunately, that's why a lot of blue collar workers get a bad rep for themselves is this ego. But at the end of the day, it's all about teamwork. You literally are all out there for the same mission, to get paid, to go home, to finish your job and move on to the next one. So why not be able to ask for help? Why not lean on your brothers and sisters who are there to fucking help you? It's literally teamwork.
Yes,
I just don't get it.
That's exactly
There
it.
shouldn't be competition out there.
When we all work together, you were so tight because, like she said, I seen these guys more than I seen my family.
Right.
I was doing 85 hours a week. So, you see them every day, all day. You become so close that asking for help to go do this or, hey, I don't really understand that. That wasn't an issue. It was like, hey, come grab me, come give me a hand over here. Let's grab this. Let's do this. And there was no why do you need help? It was, yeah, let's do it.
Right.
But
and that's
there's places that don't do that.
Right. And that's how I've been on jobs where it's like that, where I thoroughly trust the people around me, but then it's I was just on this last job, I was just talking to these guys about that because I was like, we don't have each other. Millwrights don't have each other's backs like they used to. There are some unions that are so they have everyone's back. The operators, the iron workers, they have each other's backs. They are a true brotherhood in the situations I've seen. But my trade, for some reason, there's a lot of throwing somebody under the bus or just not having each other's back. And I have that happen to me a lot. And because I've always said if a guy that's not morally sound sees something happen between a man and a woman, he's going to take the guy's side, whether the guy's right or wrong. And that's not how it should be. And it's a lot of things, one person does something wrong, and instead of saying hey dude, this is how you do it, they want to go tell on him because they want to climb up that ladder faster than they know they deserve to climb up that ladder. And instead of working harder to becoming better, they rather just snitch and get their position the easy way. And I'm so loyal to people, and I always say I hate that about myself because I will always if my best friend at work is doing something really wrong to somebody else and someone says I could never watch that. You can't treat people wrong. Do the right thing every chance you get. And a lot of people nowadays, it's if the right thing isn't the easy thing, I'm not going to worry about it. Not my problem kind of thing. And it's we're all each other's problem, guys. We are all each other's problems. Life would be so much more fun and just good out here if we would just treat each other like a family, it's supposed to be, some jobs are, because yeah, we really are there. I've been on jobs where it's like we'll be there for 17, 18 hours a day for like 3 or 4 days, and every other day is 10 hours. And it's like, guys, we're here so much. Can we just be nice to each other?
Right.
Like, please.
I hope that you encourage other women to go into blue collar because you are truly so smart and wanting to make a difference. Like trying to provide for your son, your family, yourself. You're truly inspiring.
I try to message everybody back. I get a lot of messages from younger women or women that are like, maybe they weld in a fab shop, something like that. They haven't really got to like spread their wings. And I talked to a lot of people, and I've gotten a few people in. I was really proud when my little brother came in. And I got one of my best friends in too, who was non-union for a long time, and he just needed a little bit more. And I really try to, because it can be a great thing. If it's not for you, it's not for you, but like it's worth figuring out if it's for you, because it can be like a life-changing amount of money for one, and two, just some people just really thrive in that kind of atmosphere. And I don't know, it can be a really
Chaos.
for a lot of people's lives. Chaos. Yes, like
Uh-oh,
I
you're
could
freezing.
never work an easy job. Oh,
You froze.
down.
It's okay. You're good.
You're good.
Okay.
Yeah, chaos.
Oh, it's
That was
fine.
So when do you graduate?
College.
Yeah.
So I'll be done I'm getting my associates technically first. So I did that just in case I decide I really don't like my degree or anything, because their associates lead right into their bachelor's. So I have one more semester of that, but then I'll have I think I have about a year and a half left overall, because I do it all online. So I kind of can pick how many classes I want, and I just do as many as possible, because it's like hard to sit down and do it, but once you're doing it, it's really easy. So I've been trying to just get it done and over with. That way I don't want to sit here for 6 years doing 2 classes a semester kind of thing. So about a year and a half, maybe about 2 years, and I'll be done with everything.
I'm telling you, like if she lived in Florida, me and you would be like fucking this. Like you are so motivated. You remind me of me at 25. You really do. Like I'm not blue collar, but just married one, but just your kid is your inspiration and it's your drive.
Right. And being married to one is no easy feat either. Like, I don't know if you've traveled much, but
yeah.
it can be hard too. Cause when I was with my ex, it'd be really hard because like we'd both have, you have a bad day and then he has a bad day, and it's like, well, someone's got to make dinner and it's not going to be me. Like we had a lot of times like that, and it can be very stressful, and especially if they're gone a lot. I see a lot of women struggle with that, and it can be very hard, because then when they're gone, it's like you're kind of a single parent, but you're not, but you kind of are
Well,
in a way.
Yeah.
even so, I've done traveling at another job, but when we met, I wasn't traveling, and the job I had, it was like being gone. 1 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon.
Oh my
Come
God.
home. Yeah. Come home.
And that was witching hour for our baby. Like,
Yeah.
you would wake up.
That's like, gotta go to work. Sorry.
Right when I'd shut the door and leave the house, I'd get a text, he's up. I'm like, great. So, 1 to 4, and then come home, shower, eat dinner, say hi to the kids, right to bed,
Right.
do it again. So it was like,
being
it was
a
just
single
her.
mom. Yeah.
Right. Did you work at that time too then?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
she
gosh.
had her own business.
Yeah, I always say, like, I don't know how, because I kind of did it, but also at the same time, my son's dad was here. We do 50-50. So, like, I would have a week off, I don't know how people do that every day. Like, you're very strong for doing that, because that is something that I feel like that's also another thing when I was talking about how men talk about their wives. A lot of men don't understand how hard that really is. And I've heard a lot of things about, like, oh, my wife doesn't do anything. My wife, and like, she's raising the kids you helped create, that you don't want to go to daycare, that you want to be homeschooled. So she's doing that, and she is doing something for you. Like, have you ever hung out with a toddler for a week straight?
Yes.
It's not easy. Like, it doesn't matter
They're
how much you love
monsters.
them. Yeah, they're crazy. Like, and like men need to appreciate the women they have a lot of the times. And some of them really do, and they don't ever stop talking about their wives. But I love seeing that, because also we live in a world where no one wants to get married or anything anymore, and people act like they never want to have kids. And the ones that respect their wives, they automatically are up here to me. Like, they are automatically just a grade above the rest, because being a wife to a man that travels or just works a lot is not easy.
No,
Yeah.
that's hard.
Yeah.
So what are some of your hobbies? Like,
Well, right now I don't have time for any hobbies. So usually I've always liked to, I've been a gym rat for forever. And then the past like year or so, I haven't been able to, because the job I had been on for like a long time. I was getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, taking my son to my mom's house, which is 30 minutes the opposite direction from work, and then driving 2 hours to work, working 10 hours, driving all the way back, and then doing school and stuff like that. And, taking care of my house, trying to make sure it's not a wreck. But I read a lot. I've always like been a big book reader. My family has horses, so like last summer I got to have my horse here, so I got to ride a lot. And I try to do things to keep my mind off of work, because I don't want to be that person that's like just only centered around work. So I try to take my son out. My mom has chickens, so I try to spend a lot of time with him, just doing things that he enjoys, and spending quality time with him, because growing up I didn't get much quality time with my parents, and I feel like that has like always affected me in a way. And so I try to spend, like, even though I don't get to spend as much time with him as probably most parents do, I try to just do stuff with him, or just like hang out, just like me and him, because he is like my best little friend, and I'm his best friend. He tells me all the time. And so I always just try to like be right next to him all, and if I'm not, he'll find a way to be right next to me. But I try to just do a lot of stuff with him, and just be outside too. I love being outside.
Yeah.
that is so awesome. Anytime you get to spend with him, please do, because I used to tell John, you're busting your ass for someone else, and at the end of the day, you are replaceable.
Oh yeah.
Not to your son, but to your job. So
Mhm.
Just another number.
never forget that. You mean so much to that little boy.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing for me to remember, is that like at work I'm replaceable, because I care so much about that stuff. And like, I don't expect everyone to care as much as me. I understand that some people it's just a paycheck, but I care so much about work, and like what my name means, and my work ethic and stuff like that. So I've had a lot of conversations where it's like,
Uh-oh, you're frozen. You there? Can you hear us? Can you hear us? If you can hear me, go ahead and log back in if you want. Oh, there you are.
oh, sorry, it's storming bad outside, I think.
That's okay.
I can hear the wind whipping.
That's all right. What were you saying?
I don't remember. I think it was, I know we talked about Raiden and stuff like that, but I don't remember.
I do the same thing, so it's all right.
I swear my memory is so like, oh, I know what you're talking about. It's like I try to like let down work. Like once I'm home, I try to forget about work and try to just focus on that. But it's been even harder, because with school, it's like I'm still thinking about work in a way. And so I've been trying to drop that and just learn the work life balance of it all, because
It's hard.
I don't want to be career obsessed, but I also don't want to not care about my career. So I'm trying really hard to learn how to juggle all of that and figure it all out.
It's
Well,
very hard to do that, because something it had happened to me all the time. I'd come home and be like, all right, this broke today. tomorrow we have to get it going. So I'd be like planning in my head, like what I'm going to do, what are we making for dinner? I'm like, well, I have no idea. Whatever you want,
Right. Yes, that's exactly what I do
Your
all the
mind
time.
is completely on somewhere else.
Yes, and that's why I've always said people always complain about a long drive to work, and I like having about an hour drive because I can decompress on the way home. So by the time I get home, I'm not so like mad about whatever I was mad about
Yeah.
or like thinking so heavy about something. So when I have a job that's like 20 minutes from my house, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this sucks. So I have to like drive around for a little bit because yeah, I've had that many times where I get home and I'm like, I need to chill out. Like I need to just relax for a minute and just be present in the home I'm in with my kid and stuff like that.
That's a great way to look at that. If you guys are listening, use that time to decompress, chill out, listen to the radio, whatever you want. So you're not bringing it home to your family and you can be present.
Right. Yeah.
That's amazing word for everyone.
Yeah. Take the hour away jobs, guys.
Well, the women want you home sooner, and I'm sure your other wants you home sooner, but
Yeah.
we understand. If you can come home much happier, that would be awesome too.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you guys you have any questions for John?
What trade were you actually in then? Because I'd kind of talked to her about what had happened and everything, but I didn't know what trade you were in or.
I was a miner.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Rock mine, not coal.
Okay. What's the
I
difference?
work. Well, coal, a lot of the coal is underground and then you have
Right.
your top on, but rock mine, we're just doing strip mining.
Down in Florida, you dig for limestone,
Yeah.
which creates
Okay.
concrete buildings, all the infrastructure.
So I worked on the big machines, drag line and stuff like that. I did all that.
Is that just as bad for your like lungs and stuff as coal is, or is it not as bad?
No.
That's good at least.
Yeah, coal, that's not good.
Yeah, even in those coal plants, I would have like a bloody nose for weeks after just from all that fly ash and stuff. That's what I was wondering because I don't know how guys work out in that and just like live in that because you can feel like when you breathe, you're just like full of that.
Those
dust.
coal miners, those guys are a different breed. They are something.
I don't know how they do that. I
Them
hope they
dudes
make really good money.
Them dudes are crazy.
We support
Yeah.
our miners. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved what I did. It was, when people ask you what's your dream job, that was it 100%. And it's funny, earlier you said, there's things that you hate and stuff and that, but you have to find passion in your job. But that was it. I loved my job, but it was a love-hate. I'd get to work and you'd be like, my fucking God, I can't stand this. Something break, you'd be pissed off and screw this job. I hate this place. But when you're driving home, you're like, God, I love my job.
Yes, every time.
Get there, it's the same thing. You're like, I love this place, but God, do you piss me off?
Yeah, it's like I'm never coming back, and it's like I'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll be on time. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's gonna be a rough day when you're already mad by first break because we'd always have like our first break, our lunch, and our third one. And when I'd be like, I'd think it was lunch, it'd be my first break. I'd be like, oh my gosh, like I'd sit out I wouldn't even sit in the trailer with the guys. I'd be like, everyone just leave me alone. Like I'm already mad at the world. But I'd always go back.
No, it was a good job. I love that job.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I wish more people loved it because there's a lot of like, you really can love it. And I always say, I love my job. I don't always love the people. And that's really what it comes down to. I've never been on a job where I wasn't like, I want to figure this out and I want to know how to do it. And I enjoyed it. The people can ruin it for you, but the job itself, I've always like really loved every job I've been on. I feel like I'm just passionate about learning. I don't know if I'm passionate about a job. I'm like passionate about learning how to do stuff.
That's
You're
good because jack of all trades. I mean,
I want to be.
But when you're 25 now, when you get old, you're going to be that person that is going to have all the knowledge that the younger generation below you is going to go to you to look up to.
I know. I can't wait. They get away with a lot too. Those old
You're going to
guys
have to start practicing some like good old school sayings too to give these guys.
Oh, I have sayings all the time. Like the guys will always be like, "Where did you get that from?" I'm like, "I don't know. I don't remember what I said. Like, I just came up with it. So
The one
I'm
I
working
love-
on it already.
The one I love the most that my boss used to tell me, he was old school, was when something we were starting a project, he'd tell everybody, he'd have a meeting and tell everybody, don't drink more water than you can sweat out because we ain't got time to piss today.
Oh, I've heard that too. And I laughed so hard when I actually had a guy in the last job tell me that. He told me his old boss had said that before.
Yep.
And I laughed so hard. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like,
Most
that
people,
fits you because that's how he acted.
you say it to most people and they sit there and they think about it. They're like, I don't get it. You're like, it means don't drink more water because you ain't got time to pee. You sweat out what you can drink and that's
Yeah,
it.
you're not taking any breaks today.
Uh-uh.
When they say we're working half a day, they meant 12 hours.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Crazy. Do you want to drop your TikTok for everybody? Do you want to let them know so they can check out your awesome videos?
I think my TikTok, I've had to change it a couple times because people kept making spam accounts of me. But I believe it's Josie _MF _Mcclintock.
Now, can I ask you what the MF stands
Me
for?
too.
Because if it's what I think it's, yes,
He's
that's a girl right there. It's awesome.
For years, he's called himself JMFP.
John motherfucking Pendleton.
It's on his hard hat.
It was on my welding hood. I had it on the bib of my other welding hood. I had it on my hard hat. I had a patch made for my vest, my leather.
Yeah, I have in my hard hat, it literally says Josie motherfucking McClintock.
Yes.
Love it. You are truly one of a kind, and we support you.
So you gotta make it smaller now. It's JMFM.
I know, I should. That's a good idea. I need a hard
He's
hat.
like
sticker
that
for
on
that. I'm gonna
everything.
hand them out at jobs. Be like, I don't know what it stands for.
Love it.
That'd be hilarious.
It really would.
Well, you're going places, and one day you'll be able to
Oh yeah.
put a patch on your shirt with your initials.
Yeah, I'm excited for that day.
Never stop. You have some big goals, and we wish nothing but the best for you.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys having me on here and everything. I've had a good time. I'm sorry my computer didn't work, but I'm glad we figured it out.
That's all right. Thank you for being here with us.
That was awesome.
Of course. Thank you guys.
We will talk to you soon.
Okay. Have a good one.
You too.
All right. Bye.